Now. So yes, I'm going to show you how to magic loop as if you were starting off. Now, first thing to talk about are the needles. The needles are the most crucial bit of magic loop. If, like me, you started knitting on circular needles with the ones that you get, they've either been Granny's cleared them out of her attic, or you found them in the charity shop and they only cost a little bit of money, and they have really stiff cables, and I'm afraid they're just not good enough. They're not flexible enough to do magic loop. So in order to do magic loop, you really do need some nice, modern, good quality, super flexible cables. Look, you can twist these up into knots and they're lovely.
And tell everyone which ones you've got there.
These are Nova Knit Pros interchangeables that I'm using. Addy certainly do some, and there are plenty of others around. What's it? The Chia Goos.
Everybody raves about
Yeah,
those.
I've never tried them. I really must give them a go. So these are lovely flexible needles, and the other thing you want is a nice smooth join where your needle itself joins the cable. So you want that to be nice and smooth, and those are really the key points for a needle. Just don't try doing it with inferior circular needles, because that's where it all goes wrong before you've even started. So when you're starting off, you can do it straight from the cast on. You can just cast on. I think I've got about 20 stitches here. We could just cast on 20 stitches and join it in the round. With 20 stitches, that's not too tricky. And if you're fairly experienced at doing it, it's okay with a few more. But to be honest, if you've got a lot of stitches, frankly, it's easier to just put in a couple of rows. Just knit a couple of rows backwards and forwards. This is chunky yarn, so it looks like quite a lot, but I've actually only done 3 rows there. And that just gives you a base from which to start, and it does make the whole joining into the round bit a bit easier. But you can do this from the cast on row, it's up to you. So I'm just going to find around the middle, that's about the middle, and we pull out a loop to start with. So we've got half our stitches on the front needle and half on the back needle. You can see like that. It's not quite halfway, but it really doesn't matter. So we've got one big loop here. So what we then do, this is the back needle that we've just worked. So here's our working yarn tail. So we're going to pull the back needle out. We're going to pick up our yarn and we're going to start knitting onto the front needle. So we loop around. Now don't worry about your tension at this point. It's all got a bit loose, don't worry. Put your needle in as if to knit the second stitch, and at that point give this working yarn a good tug, snug it up, knit your stitch, and then that will hold. And now don't have to put any tension on that to hold it. And we can carry on just knitting along. I'm going to work this in stocking stitch now.
And that snugging up really helps, doesn't it? Because people complain about getting ladders when they knit in the round.
Do, absolutely. And yes, if you're getting ladders at the corners of your magic loop, then you're not snugging up enough. And if it's getting very tight in your corners, then you're snugging up a bit too much. So having got to the end, I've turned around. I'm going to slide my needle back onto the needle. Now, if you snugged up too much, which I slightly might have done there, that's when it gets a little bit trickier, sliding it onto the front needle, but don't worry. Pull out the back one. We've got our loop there, we've got another loop here, and we're going to do the same again. So we're going to knit the first stitch, not worrying about the tension, put it in as if to knit on the second one, and snug it up here. Snug is perhaps the right word, not yank or pull or tighten it, just snug it, make it lovely.
Tell us about some of the benefits of knitting in the round.
Benefits of knitting. Well, many benefits of knitting in the round, because frankly you just don't have seams to deal with. So I don't really like doing seams. In fact, we've just had a little bit of a chit chat, haven't we, about it on Facebook, and so many people said, oh, I hate doing the seams. So yeah, see if you can get into knitting in the round. So just a little snug there, and we're just carrying on knitting. When you're knitting like this, it's really, I mean, it's just as if you're knitting on ordinary needles. I mean, yes, they're a bit shorter than your straights if you're used to straight needles. To be honest, I've got to the point where I knit everything on these types of needles now. Even if it's a flat piece of knitting, I will still use these because I just find them really easy. I can stuff them in my handbag. I can take my knitting anywhere. And I just find it really good. So we just snug up. So yes, if you can get rid of seaming, that's all good. Knitting in the round is splendid. But of course it does make a better finish for some things, like the toys that we've got at the back here. Let me show you those. So we've got, here, come here, Freddie. Here's my friend Freddie Fox. Now he was knitted in the round, so if you look at the back of his arms and his legs, you see we have no seams going on there. This is all just completely in the round. Now you can knit this as flat pieces and sew them up, but you're always going to get a bit of a ridge, particularly on something that's so small. So we rather like knitting the toys in the round, if we can. Things like a mitten, this really does need to be knitted in the round, because to be honest, nobody wants seams around the corners of their mittens, and certainly when you get something as small as a thumb or even a finger, you really haven't got room to start doing seams on these. So these are all done in the round. So's the little rabbit head. Isn't he cute? Yeah.
You can of course do it on DPNs if that's your thing.
Of course you can do it on DPNs, and to be honest, there's no difference really in knitting with DPNs. They work pretty much the same as Magic Loop. Magic Loop just means that your two needles are connected by means of a cable, and it gives you the added advantage of the stitches don't fall off the back of your DPNs, which is slightly what happens with me, but that's just because I'm a bit careless with them. But you would do the same technique for snugging up. Just knit the first one, snug up the second stitch. Just do that the same on your DPNs. No issue really. You just knit along till you get to the end, and then you go round on your next DPN. So use a very similar technique for DPNs. Some people really do prefer their DPNs. Look, even I get my neat. Oh, look, my yarn's in a tangle. What's going on here?
We've got a couple of people who are watching us.
Have we?
We have a comment from Kath Pritchard.
Oh, hello, Kath.
She says, "Looking good, alarm genie." I think
We
your
are very
predictive
alarmed.
text has got you there.
Thanks, Kath. Nice to see you. Who else is watching us?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me who's watching. It just says there are 2 people watching.
Oh, 2.
3. We've got 3.
3.
Hello. We're just doing a video on Magic Loop knitting. If you
send us
just
a
joined us,
comment and say hello.
If you've got any questions about Magic Loop, then also you can comment and we'll try our best to answer.
Yeah.
Nikki's going to show you in a minute just how good it looks on the join.
Yes, I think I just need a few more rows to go in, so we'll talk amongst ourselves while we knit. That's the issue with knitting videos, isn't it? You have to do a lot of chit chat in between.
Yes.
But then that's why knitting groups are so good, because they teach you to talk and knit at the same time. So we're all in favour of those. So just to remind you, as you're going round the corner, knit the first stitch. Don't worry about your tension. Let it be as loose as you like. Put your needle in to knit the second stitch, and then at that point just snug up your knitting. Don't give it too tight a yank, but just snug it up. And then you can just carry on knitting just as normal, nice and easy.
You can also knit 2 at a time, can't you? On
Oh, you can do 2 at a time. I think that might be another video, but absolutely so useful for things like socks or sleeves or
arms and legs
and whoopsie daisies.
I think you did all those 2 at a time, didn't you? Or maybe
oh yes, I did. I think at one point I did actually do. Yeah, I had like 4 fox arms on the go, which, to be honest, got a little bit silly because the balls of wool keep running away with you, because you do need 4 balls of wool. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look here, so you can see. Can you zoom in? So look at that. Look at that join. You really can't tell, can you? You can't see any gap. That's where the join is. There's no ladder going on, and that's because we've snugged up each time. On the other side, this is the gap where we didn't join in the round until we got to row 3, and this you'll just have to sew that little bit up afterwards, but that's fine. It's only a little tiny bit, and there's your nice neat bit of knitting above it, which again you just can't see the ladder. So that little snugging up, that's the technique to use.
Fantastic.
Good.